Today feels like a turning point in Los Angeles, and that's not a figure of speech. There's a market target that could reshape the offense, a bold backfield decision splitting opinions, a disciplined detail that's costing way too many yards, and a behind-the-scenes return that could ignite the defense. Want to guess which one changes the season the most? I bet it's not the one you're thinking about. You won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, hit that like button, and let's dive straight into the updates. And hey, Bolt fam, care to make a prediction before we start? You know that chess piece that flips a match in the middle of the board. The Chargers have exactly that kind of offensive move in front of them. Harbaugh's offense has found its identity, but the chain of injuries in the backfield opened a hole that, if filled with the right piece, puts Los Angeles back on a contender's track. The hint comes from the East, a team at 0-5 eyeing a rebuild, taking calls on valuable names, and most importantly, on a running back with elite burst. Before the name, think about the profile. We're talking about Breece Hall. In the middle of the Jets' offensive chaos, he keeps flashing that first-step pop and efficient production, piling up over 5 yards per carry and more than 500 total yards through 5 games. There's more, an expiring deal, a franchise desperate for draft capital, and little reason to prioritize a running back in this cycle. That's the definition of a window for an aggressive team. Chris Landers from Fansided hammered the same point. And what would Hall bring to the Chargers right now? Immediacy. With Najee done for the year and Hampton on IR, Haskins earned respect, doing the dirty work on early downs, and Vidal offers the change of pace. Even so, the offense lacks that 3-story spark, breaking tackles at the second level, punishing light boxes, and simultaneously stressing linebackers off play action. Hall adds all of that and realigns defenses. A safety cheats back half a step, the box lightens, and Herbert gets that decisive breath. When Hampton returns, the combo becomes a steamroller. Cost and risk? The conversation starts with a mid-round conditional pick, scaling with snaps and production. For the Jets, it's converting a soon-to-expire asset into rebuild ammo. For the Chargers, it's betting that a real upgrade in the run game turns into wins in October and November. Cap-wise, plausible with a small restructure and 2025 incentives, keeping flexibility intact. The message to the locker room would be explicit. The window is open now. Here's an overlooked twist: the cultural effect. Harbaugh builds offenses that run even when the defense knows it's coming. Hall is the kind of talent that changes posture. If the front office steps on the gas, the AFC notices. And that's not even the most surprising part of the day. When Hampton's back, it's easy to picture a 1-2 punch in the Gibbs-Montgomery mold. Hall as the lightning that threatens the edge and attacks screens in the 2-minute, Hampton as the hammer on 3rd and short and in the red zone. That balance reduces offensive variance, shortens ugly games, and protects the defense during wear and tear weeks. The injury to Omari and Hampton blindsided everyone, and its impact goes way beyond fantasy. Inside the Chargers locker room, the mood is immediate reorganization, and in the fantasy football world, pure panic. Hampton hit injured reserve and will miss at least 4 weeks, leaving a huge vacuum in the rotation Jim Harbaugh was shaping so carefully. That's where the name nobody expected to see in this role so soon comes in: Hassan Haskins. Field Yates at ESPN didn't mince words. Haskins stands to get much of the first and second down work. He'll be the power back. You may recall there was a game last year where he got goal line work. If the Chargers don't make a major move this week, Haskins has the best chance to lead the team in carries. When someone who understands the fantasy ecosystem that well says it, fans and analysts perk up, and the question follows: can he really carry the load? Harbaugh has always had a soft spot for physical runners. Going back to Michigan, Haskins fits the exact profile Harbaugh wants: contact, patience, consistency. Stefania Bell, also at ESPN, doubled down. Harbaugh likes him. There's a direct connection from college, and when a coach trusts a player, especially in an emergency, that counts more than any number on paper. As Haskins gains the spotlight, Kamani Vidal becomes the change of pace piece and a key factor on passing downs. Harbaugh loves to alternate styles to test a defense's reads. If Haskins is the bulldozer between the tackles, Vidal is the problem solver that breaks predictability. Against a wobbly 1-4 Dolphins group in Week 6, that kind of rotation can be devastating. But there's a dimension beyond individual production: the emotional bond between roster and fan base. Los Angeles is living through a tense stretch after weeks of highs and lows. Every injury shakes a team's morale. Haskins' opportunity, on the other hand, represents what Harbaugh values most: the next man up ethos. It's the symbol of the competitive DNA the coach is trying to imprint. Behind the scenes, the staff believes the blocking scheme can help Haskins get into rhythm quickly. The offensive line is still juggling pieces, but the coaches think simplifying inside zone and power gap concepts can restore flow to the run game. That would keep Herbert from forcing too many deep balls and lower turnover risk. From a fantasy angle, the message is clear. Top priority on the waiver wire. Haskins could see up to 18 carries this week, instantly putting him among the highest volume RBs of the slate. And if he delivers, it's not crazy to imagine a real competition for the starting role even when Hampton returns. The moment calls for action, and Harbaugh is willing to bet. Haskins has the build, the background, and the coach in his corner. All that's left is turning opportunity into consistency. Meanwhile, the locker room reshuffles, because what comes next can define the season. If there's one thing that drives any coach up the wall, it's watching a talented team self-destruct with penalties. That's exactly what's happening to the Chargers. Over the first 3 games, the team looked like clockwork, just 17 penalties, under 6 per game. But over the last 2 weeks, the collapse, 24 flags, the most for any Jim Harbaugh NFL team over a 2-game stretch. That's not a statistical quirk. It's a symptom of something deeper. Those penalties didn't come out of nowhere. Injuries, forced substitutions, players still learning the system. All of it adds up. But the truth is, the team lost its emotional control at critical moments, especially along the offensive line. Once Rashawn Slater tore his patellar tendon, the unit became a roulette wheel. Joe Alt had to slide to the left side, and as if that weren't enough, sprained his ankle in the loss to the Giants. Without their top 2 tackles, Herbert's living the quarterback nightmare. Pressure from every direction. The number that exposes the problem is brutal. A pass block win rate of just 39.1% per True Media. For context, that's the first time a team has posted sub 40% in back-to-back games since the Patriots and Dolphins late in 2023. Translation, on roughly 6 out of 10 dropbacks, the pocket collapses before the primary route develops. No scheme survives that. The results are predictable. Herbert throwing under duress, drives dying before midfield, and the defense stuck on the field too long. Harbaugh was transparent after the game. We need to stop the bleeding on penalties and self-inflicted wounds. I know we're a good team in those areas, we're just not right now, and we'll get better. He knows discipline isn't a slogan. It's the thin line between winning and losing tight games. A holding at the wrong time kills momentum. A pass interference turns 3rd and 12 into a new life for the opponent. That's what's costing them in these 2 straight losses. If Haskins is the bulldozer between the tackles, Vidal is the problem solver that breaks predictability. Against a wobbly 1-4 Dolphins group in Week 6, that kind of rotation can be devastating. Behind closed doors, the offensive staff is exploring options. Harbaugh's considering simplifying protection calls and tweaking the snap count to reduce false starts. There's also talk of promoting a veteran from the practice squad to stabilize the right side. Internally, the mantra is back to basics. Align, communicate, execute. Fans' frustration is justified. Watching a roster with that much top-end talent, Herbert, Allen, Mack, James lose ground because of control and discipline stings. Even more with the 1-4 Dolphins up next in Miami, a game the Bolts should own. But at the current pace of penalties and protection issues, nothing's guaranteed. The big question now is psychological. How do they respond? Harbaugh's always preached that crisis reveals character. The answer starts in the locker room. Leaders like Herbert and Khalil Mack have to turn anger into focus, not frustration. Cleaning up penalties is more mental than technical. It's attention, communication, and respect for the plan. They know what's at stake. A 3rd straight loss would reopen doubts about consistency and leadership. But if Los Angeles tightens up execution and recovers its emotional control, the roster's natural talent can take over. The AFC is still clustered. There's time, but the clock is ticking. And honestly, with Harbaugh, don't doubt a strong response. He lives to prove a point when the questions get loud. Some updates carry symbolic weight beyond the information itself, and Denzel Perryman's return is one of them. Since Week 1, the veteran linebacker's absence has been felt on every defensive call, every poorly contained run, every missed tackle in the middle of the field. Now finally, Jim Harbaugh says the team will open the 21-day practice window to activate him from IR. It's more than a comeback, it's the return of an emotional pillar. Perryman injured his high ankle in that opener against the Chiefs in São Paulo. He played just 8 snaps before limping off, and from that moment the defense lost a little of its heartbeat. Even with the strong 3-0 start, the unit started to oscillate without his voice. Then came 2 straight losses to the Giants and Commanders, and the impact was obvious. The interior lost its timing, the front 7 got exposed to big plays, and the LB safety communication fell apart. Harbaugh knows what a leader like Perryman is worth. He's the kind of player who doesn't need to talk to command. He'll fix a teammate's gap with a look. He knows when a rookie's hesitating and anticipates the move. That intuition can't be taught, it's earned through years of battles. And that's exactly what the defense needs to rediscover its identity. In Perryman's absence, Troy Dye stepped in next to Diane Henley. He's been diligent, disciplined, but he's a lighter linebacker built to cover more than to anchor the A-gaps. Even so, he piled up 36 tackles and a sack, a solid output, graded 30th of 74 by PFF. But it's not the same physical footprint Perryman brings. The veteran is the emotional thermometer of a group still looking for the right balance between aggression and control. The timing couldn't be better. The schedule's tightening and the division is wide open. The Broncos and Chargers share the same record, and the Chiefs could match it depending on Monday's result. In other words, it's a reset moment in the AFC West. With Perryman back, the defense gains stability to heat up the pass rush and, most importantly, confidence to face the run, an issue in the last 2 weeks. The plan is to use Perryman carefully at first, rotating snaps with Dye until the ankle can handle a full workload. Even in limited snaps, his presence changes the tone. There's something different about seeing that Mufti 2 setting the front, pounding his chest, lifting the group. Young guys feel it. Veterans respond. And the fans know when Denzel Perryman is active. The front seven has a different soul. His return also symbolizes something bigger for the season. A reminder that this roster hasn't hit its ceiling, and that despite the stumbles, the Harbaugh project is on track. It's a team under construction, already showing flashes of greatness. If the defense rediscovers the rhythm from those early weeks when they held Mahomes and the Chiefs to just 17 points, no one will want to see this group in December. So yes, there's reason to be fired up. Perryman's back, the defense finds its voice again, and Harbaugh gets his on-field general. The most exciting part is what this return could spark. The moment the Los Angeles Chargers stop reacting and start dictating terms. If that really happens, bookmark it. The playoff path reopens. Take a breath, Bolt Nation. Today, we saw how a market move could change the offense, how Haskins just earned his shot to prove real value, why penalties have sabotaged winnable games, and what Perryman's leadership gives back to the defense. If the front cleans up discipline and the backfield delivers real volume, Herbert gets back to setting the tempo and the AFC West stays wide open. Now it's on you. Would you pull the trigger for the explosive back or bet on internal growth? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. Ride with us.